Hello, good morning, students. Welcome to my class, English for Grade 11, Senior High School. Still with me, Coach Ahmad Riwayadi. This morning, we are going to talk about one of seasonal allergies that is called hay fever. Sengaja, saya pilihkan materi-materi yang berkenaan dengan materi biologi dengan tujuan agar kalian mulai belajar istilah-istilah atau kosakata yang berhubungan dengan biologi. Let's start. Well, students, as usual, before we discuss the passage, in these 3 paragraphs, we always learn the new vocabulary first. We hope that by mastering the vocabularies, it will be easier to understand or to comprehend the text. And in this passage, we have learned some vocabularies. They are seasonal, pollen, attack, sources, incur, airborne, dependent, various, intense, and prevalent. Let's discuss this passage, paragraph by paragraph, sentence by sentence. Let's start the first paragraph. Hay fever is seasonal allergy to pollen. Hay fever atau demam jerami merupakan alergi musiman terhadap serbuk sari. The term hay fever, however, is a less than adequate description. Namun demikian, istilah demam jerami bukanlah istilah atau deskripsi yang tepat. Since such an attack can be brought on by sources other than hay-producing grasses. Karena serangan alergi seperti ini bisa disebabkan oleh sumber-sumber tertentu, bukannya rerumputan yang menghasilkan jerami. And since an attack of this allergy does not incur fever, dan karena serangan alergi ini tidak menyebabkan demam. Let's continue to the second paragraph. The cause of hay fever can be quite varied. Penyebab demam jerami bisa cukup bervariasi. Hay fever is generally caused by airborne pollens, particularly ragweed pollen. Demam jerami pada umumnya disebabkan oleh serbuk sari yang berterbangan di udara, khususnya serbuk sari dari tanaman ragweed. The amount of pollen in the air is largely dependent on geographical location, weather, and season. Jumlah kandungan serbuk sari di udara sangat bergantung pada lokasi geografis, cuaca, dan musim. In the eastern section of the United States, di kawasan timur Amerika Serikat, for example, misalnya, there are generally 3 periods when pollen from various sources can cause intense hay fever suffering. Pada umumnya ada 3 masa di mana serbuk sari dari berbagai macam sumber dapat menyebabkan serangan demam jerami yang parah, yaitu in the springtime months of March and April. Pada bulan-bulan Musim semi, yaitu bulan Maret dan April, when pollen from trees is prevalent, ketika serbuk sari dari pepohonan sangat banyak atau melimpah. In the summer months of June and July, pada bulan-bulan musim panas, yaitu pada bulan Juni dan Juli, when grass pollen fills the air, ketika serbuk sari dari rerumputan memenuhi udara. And at the end of August, dan pada akhir bulan Agustus, when ragweed pollen is at its most concentrated level, ketika serbuk sari dari tanaman ragweed berada pada tingkat konsentrasi yang paling tinggi. Paragraph 3. What results from an attack of hay fever is not a fever. Apa yang diakibatkan oleh serangan demam jerami bukanlah demam. Instead, a person with hay fever will suffer symptoms such as red and itching eyes. Justru, seseorang yang mengalami demam jerami akan menderita gejala-gejala seperti mata merah dan gatal, a swollen and runny nose, hidung yang berair dan membengkak, and repeated bouts of sneezing, dan waktu bersin-bersin yang berulang-ulang. Well, students, let's start question and answers. Let's start with question number 1. Question number 1. Which of the following would be the best title for the passage? A. Seasonal allergy. B. The Eastern United States. C. Ragweed pollens. D. Hay fever. E. Common symptoms. To answer question number 1, let's see the whole text. To answer question number 1, we have to look at the whole passage or the whole text. Untuk menjawab pertanyaan nomor 1 yang mempertanyakan tentang judul, topik, atau tema suatu bacaan, kita harus memperhatikan gagasan utama tiap-tiap paragraf yang ada di bacaan tersebut. Gagasan utama tiap paragraf biasanya merupakan kalimat pertama dari masing-masing paragraf tersebut. Sekarang mari kita lihat kalimat pertama di paragraf pertama yang merupakan gagasan utama atau main idea dari paragraf pertama. Hay fever is seasonal allergy to pollens. Subjek dari kalimat ini adalah hay fever, dan ini menjadi kata kunci nantinya. Kalimat pertama paragraf kedua merupakan main idea dari paragraf kedua. The cause of hay fever can be quite varied. Ada kata kunci lagi pada kalimat pertama paragraf kedua ini, yaitu hay fever. Selanjutnya, pada paragraf ketiga, kalimat pertama yang merupakan main idea atau gagasan utama dari paragraf ketiga. What results from an attack of hay fever is not a fever. Ada kata kunci dari kalimat tersebut, yaitu hay fever. Dari masing-masing main idea atau gagasan utama terdapat kata kunci yang sama, yaitu hay fever. Jadi, jelas bahwa pertanyaan nomor 1 sekarang bisa kita jawab dengan mudah. Bahwasanya judul dari bacaan tersebut adalah hay fever. So, the title or the best title for this passage is hay fever. Let's be back to question number 1. Question number 1. Which of the following would be the best title for the passage? Of course, the correct answer is option D, hay fever. Question number 2. Which of the following is not a symptom of hay fever? A. Runny nose. B. Red eyes. C. A high fever. D. Persistent sneezing. E. Itching eyes. To answer question number 2, let's be back to paragraph 3. Paragraph 3. Coba perhatikan kalimat yang berwarna merah yang merupakan main idea dari paragraph ini. What results from an attack of hay fever is not a fever. Apa yang dihasilkan atau diakibatkan dari serangan demam jerami ini bukanlah demam. So, it is very clear that hay fever is nothing to do with a fever. Now, let's be back to question number 2 to answer it correctly. Question number 2. Which of the following is not a symptom of hay fever? Once again, hay fever is nothing to do with a fever. So the correct answer for question number 2 is option C, a high fever. Question number 3. When is ragweed pollen most prevalent in the United States? A. At the beginning of the spring. B. At the end of the spring. C. At the beginning of the summer. D. At the mid of the summer. E. At the end of the summer. To answer question number 3, let's be back to paragraph 2. This is paragraph 2. Perhatikan bagian kalimat yang berwarna merah. And at the end of August, when ragweed pollen is at its most concentrated levels, yaitu pada akhir bulan Agustus ketika serbuk sari dari tanaman ragweed berada pada tingkat konsentrasinya yang tertinggi. Pada tingkat konsentrasinya yang tertinggi artinya pada keadaan di mana serbuk sari itu sedang melimpah. It means at its most prevalent state. At the end of August means at the end of the summer. Okay, let's be back to question number 3 to answer the question correctly. Question number 3. When is ragweed pollen most prevalent in the United States? Of course, the correct answer is option E, at the end of the summer. Because at the end of the summer means at the end of August. Question number 4. It is inferred in the passage that the amount of pollen in the air in a certain area is blah 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 the one in the others. Tersirat di dalam bacaan bahwa kandungan serbuk sari di udara di suatu kawasan titik-titik dengan kandungan serbuk sari yang ada di kawasan lain. A. Different from. B. The same with. C. Quite similar to. D. Dependent on. E. Related to. To answer question number 4, let's be back to paragraph 2. This is paragraph 2. Perhatikan kalimat yang berwarna merah. The amount of pollen in the air is largely dependent on geographical location, weather, and season. Kandungan serbuk sari di udara sangat bergantung pada lokasi geografis, cuaca, dan musim. Ini artinya bahwa lokasi geografis yang berbeda, atau cuaca yang berbeda, atau musim yang berbeda, maka kandungan serbuk sari di udara juga berbeda. So, It is very clear that the amount of pollen in the air in one certain area is different from the one in the other areas. Let's be back to question number 4. Question number 4. It is inferred in the passage that the amount of pollen in the air in a certain area is different from the one in the others. Of course, the correct answer for this question is option A, different from. Question number 5. The term hay fever, however, is a less than adequate description. The underlined word has the same meaning or synonymous with A, incomplete, B, sufficient, C, false, D, ambiguous, E, exact. To answer question number 5 correctly, let's look up our dictionary. Adequate, adequate, adjective. Adequate means enough or sufficient for a particular purpose. In bahasa Indonesia, we say cukup atau mencukupi. See the example in the sentence. The state has an adequate supply of trained teachers. Negara ini memiliki jumlah guru-guru terlatih yang mencukupi. Question number 5. The term hay fever, however, is a less than adequate description. The underlined word has the same meaning or synonymous with sufficient. The correct answer, of course, option B, sufficient. Well, students, thank you very much for joining my class. I will see you again for the next material. Bye-bye.